me begin by telling you a story about Jade from Colorado. She met her boyfriend and then shortly moved in with him after and lived together for 4 years. They never got engaged, never married, because he just was complacent in his relationship with her, and that left her heartbroken. She just didn't know what to do. And so this is one example or one situation where a lot of people say by living together we'll know how compatible we are. But what they don't realize is that it causes a lot of trouble in relationships and even a lot of divorce. So as you know, the chances of divorce are high, and here's some statistics from Ray Fowler. He says more than 8 in 10 couples who live together will break up before or after the wedding, and it will end in divorce. And then people who marry after living together are 50% more likely to get a divorce. And then 12% of couples living together before marriage will end with their marriage lasting 10 years or more. So that's a little about how serious divorce is and just how living together before marriage isn't a good idea. And then Dr. Harvey, who is a psychologist, his expert opinion says the chances of divorce after living together are so much higher, and if that were true, then the statistics should show the opposite effect, but it doesn't. So in reality, people who live together have weaker marriages, not stronger marriages. And then you will know what married life is like. You won't know what married life is like unless you're married. A lot of people think before marriage you're testing compatibility and whether you fit together, whether you're on the right page with each other, but that's not it at all. Like when you're living together, like it's meant for marriage, and so you shouldn't be figuring out while you're living together if we're compatible. Then that just shows that you, if you're having problems, then you'll just split. You won't try to work on the problems. And then when you're married, you're committed to each other. So that's the good side of being married. If you live together after you're married, then you're more committed. You want to solve the problems. You want to work to fix the problems. You don't just leave when times get hard. For a lot of you who don't understand what the commitment of marriage means, it is the vow to take care of each other for life. That doesn't mean for 5 years, for 1 year, for like couple of weeks for those newlyweds who figure out it's wrong, but for life. Like you should know that you're compatible and want to build on that. And I'll get more into that later. But you should stick it out through the thick and thin. When times get tough, stick it out. And the people who live together without marriage, they tend to follow the month-to-month rental agreement, which is like you're making yourself happy. You're not trying to make the other person happy, your partner happy. You're just worried about yourself, and if I'm happy, then that's all that matters. Like, that's okay. And you think you can get out at any time. Oh, it's just rental. It's not like for life. So, and then also you need to know that there are habits that are really hard to break. When you live together, you have the habit of following that rental agreement, like I just said. You'll say the vows, you'll say the I do's, but you won't, you'll still have the rental agreement in the back of your mind. You'll say, oh yeah, I said that, but I can still get out anytime. If you have been in the habit of knowing that you can get out at any time, once you do get married, you'll still have that habit in your head. And that can be really hard to break. And then for the couples who don't live together, they're in it for life. Like once they get married, they will be in it for life because they haven't had the habit of getting out whenever they can. And they tend to have the habit that reflects commitment and the lifelong commitment. And they will build that compatibility. They won't test it. The people who have lived together before marriage will try to test it, but the ones who live together after they're married, they will just want to build on that and keep building that trust and the commitment levels. And the people who live together after marriage, they have the policy of joint agreement, which is to make each other happy, to make effort into putting each other's feelings first, and all of that good stuff. So to close up, I just want to finish Jade's story. She ended up breaking up with her boyfriend. She realized that a lot of guys think, oh, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And so she just felt really used, and so she stood up and broke up with her boyfriend of 4 years, and which was really good and showed that she was very strong. So the next time you're trying to decide whether you should move in with your boyfriend or girlfriend, just remember all the statistics I've read, and just how unhealthy that can be, and you don't want to get stuck in the habit of just getting out whenever you can. You want to have that strong foundation. Thank you.